My name is Stephanie, and I am 30 years old. My boyfriend's best friend called me while I was on a work tour, and the fear in his voice told me my life had already changed before I even understood why. I was in Denver for what was supposed to be a 12-day consulting stint. My company was rolling out new software for a client, and I had been sent on-site for training sessions, troubleshooting, and the kind of hotel lobby dinners that make every city feel the same after dark. Until that trip, I thought I had a life waiting for me back home. Not perfect, but steady. Real. Mine. Ethan and I had been together for 4 years. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue on one of those summer nights where the air smells like smoke, sunscreen, and possibility. He was funny, confident, a little too charming in a way I should have studied more carefully, but back then it only made me feel chosen. He had this way of leaning in when I spoke, like the whole world had blurred except me. We moved in together after 18 months. Got a golden retriever named Rocket. Talked about rings without officially talking about rings. We had Sunday grocery runs, lazy movie nights, arguments over thermostat settings, and quiet mornings where he would kiss my shoulder before coffee. The whole trajectory felt right. Or maybe I had wanted it to feel right so badly that I ignored the tiny cracks. Ethan's best friend was Brandon. They had known each other since college, one of those brotherhood friendships, with old stories I had heard 100 times but was still expected to laugh at. Brandon married Maya 2 years ago. She was warm, pretty, sharp in a soft-spoken way, the kind of woman who noticed when your glass was empty before you did. The four of us did couple things. Dinners, weekend trips, game nights at our place where Ethan and Brandon would talk too loudly in the kitchen, while Maya and I refilled wine and joked about how men considered opening chips hosting. I never saw her as a threat. That is the stupidest sentence I have ever had to admit. For the first 2 nights in Denver, Ethan and I FaceTimed. He asked about the hotel. I asked about Rocket. He told me the dog had stolen one of my slippers and was sleeping with it. I laughed. He smiled. We said we missed each other. Normal things. Safe things. Then, on day 9, Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. Brandon. I almost did not answer because I was in the middle of a meeting, but something about his name on the screen made my stomach tighten. I stepped into the hallway, where the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the carpet had an ugly geometric pattern I can still see when I close my eyes. "Hey, what's going on? You need to come home." His voice was shaking, not crying, but close. "Stephanie, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but I can't just sit with this." My hand tightened around the phone. "What happened?" "He's using your absence," Brandon said. "He's with someone else." For a second, the hallway went silent even though I knew it was not. I could still see people moving behind the conference room glass. Someone laughed inside. A projector flickered blue against a wall. My whole world kept existing like nothing had cracked. "Who?" I asked. Brandon did not answer right away. That was when I knew it was worse than a stranger. "I think you should come home," he said. I did not scream. I did not ask for details. I just said, "Thanks." Then I hung up. I told my team lead there was a family emergency. I booked the next flight. 6 to 47 p.m., window seat, no checked bag. I sat in the airport terminal with my laptop bag at my feet, staring at my text thread with Ethan like it might confess if I looked long enough. His last message was from that morning. "Miss you. Can't wait until you're home." I read it until the words stopped meaning anything. I landed at 11:30 p.m. I took an Uber straight home instead of getting my car from the lot. I did not text Ethan. I did not call. My hands were so cold by the time I reached our building that I dropped my keys once in the stairwell. 3rd floor, corner unit. Our apartment. I could see the living room light under the door. I unlocked it quietly and pushed it open. The TV was on, some late-night show playing low. Ethan's jacket was over the chair. His shoes were by the door. Rocket lifted his head from the couch, tail thumping once, confused but happy to see me. I put a finger to my lips like dogs understand betrayal. Then I heard it. A woman's laugh from the bedroom. Low, familiar. I walked down the hall. Every step felt like my body was moving before my mind could stop it. The bedroom door was half open, and there they were. Ethan and Maya, Brandon's wife, in our bed. The bed I had helped Ethan choose 2 years earlier, because he insisted he needed good back support. The bed where I had slept beside him through flu season, bad days, anniversaries, lazy Sundays, and every lie he had told with his mouth near my hair. Maya was wearing one of Ethan's shirts. Ethan's arm was around her. They were sitting up laughing at something on her phone like they had all the time in the world. "Hey," I said. Ethan's head snapped toward me. His face drained of color so fast it was almost fascinating. "Oh my God," he said. "Stephanie, you're not supposed to be home." "I know." Maya scrambled away from him, clutching the sheet to her chest. She looked at me with horror, but not enough surprise. That told me plenty. I stayed in the doorway. My voice was steady in a way I did not feel. "Get out, Maya." She started crying immediately. "Stephanie, please, I can't explain." "No," I said. "You can leave." Ethan stood, reaching for his sweatpants, stammering my name like repeating it might rewrite what I had seen. Maya pushed past me without meeting my eyes. A few seconds later, the front door slammed. Ethan looked at me half-dressed, shaking. "It's not what you think." I almost laughed. "Then what is it?" He opened his mouth, closed it, then whispered, "It was a mistake." "How many times?" His face crumpled. "How many, Ethan?" "I don't know. Maybe 5 or 6. The number landed harder than the scene itself. I looked at the bed. Our bed. My home. My life. Then I said, "I'm sleeping somewhere else tonight. Tomorrow we talk about how you leave." He whispered, "I love you." I looked at him and realized love had become the least important word in the room. I did not sleep that night. Ethan stayed in the bedroom. Or maybe he just sat there surrounded by the wreckage of what he had done. I stayed on the couch with Rocket curled against my legs, staring at the ceiling while the apartment hummed with every lie I had not heard before. At some point around dawn, I realized I was not crying anymore. That scared me more than the crying would have. The next morning, I called Brandon. He answered on the first ring. "Did you see him?" "I came home," I said. "I saw them." There was silence on the line. Then a broken exhale. "I'm sorry. How long did you know?" "I found texts on Maya's phone last week," he said. "She left it on the counter and it lit up with a message from Ethan. Something about missing him." I confronted her and she admitted enough for me to know the rest. "Enough?" "She said it was ending. Said it was physical. Like that made it less disgusting." His voice went cold. "I filed already. Divorce papers were served yesterday." I closed my eyes. The room tilted a little. Not from shock this time, but from the strange nausea of realizing someone else had been living the same nightmare in another house. We stayed on the phone for almost an hour, comparing timelines like detectives at the scene of our own humiliation. Ethan told me he had late client calls. Maya told Brandon she had errands or drinks with friends. When I traveled, they had time. When Brandon worked late, they had time. When the 4 of us sat across from each other laughing over dinner, they had already touched each other behind our backs and then passed salt across the table like normal people. That was the part that made me feel sick. Not just the cheating, the performance. When I hung up, Ethan was standing in the hallway, pale and hollow-eyed. "Was that Brandon?" he asked. "Yes." "What did he say?" "That he filed for divorce." Ethan's face crumpled. "This is such a mess." I looked at him. "A mess is spilling coffee. This is a choice you made repeatedly. I never wanted to hurt you. You did not want to get caught." His mouth opened, but no defense came out. I grabbed my keys. "I'm staying at a hotel. Don't contact me unless it is about the lease or Rocket." "Stephanie, please, we need to talk." "No," I said. "You need to sit with what you did." I stayed at a Courtyard Marriott for 5 days. The room smelled like bleach and air conditioning, and the curtains were too heavy, but it was quiet. Brandon and I texted regularly, not romantically, not even warmly at first, just two people standing in separate rooms of the same collapsed house, passing evidence through the smoke. He sent screenshots. Ethan telling Maya, "Can't wait to see you." Maya replying, "Brandon thinks I'm at yoga." Ethan writing, "Stephanie doesn't understand me like you do." Classic affair garbage. Cheap lines dressed as destiny. Ethan texted me paragraphs. He said it was weakness. He said it spiraled. He said therapy could fix us. He said he had been lonely while I traveled. He said Maya made him feel seen. He said none of it meant he stopped loving me. I ignored everything until Sunday. Then I texted, "I'm coming to get my things. Be gone." He was not gone. Of course he was not. I brought my older sister Talia with me because I knew if I went alone, Ethan would try to turn pain into negotiation. Talia did not say much, but she had the kind of presence that made people reconsider lying. She walked in behind me, took one look at Ethan, and said, "Move." He stepped aside. I packed clothes, work files, toiletries, and the framed photo from the hallway because I wanted to throw it away myself. Talia packed my office equipment with brutal efficiency. Rocket followed me from room to room, confused and anxious, his golden tail dragging low like he knew the house was changing shape. Ethan hovered in the living room. "Can we at least talk?" he asked. "What is there to talk about?" "Our future, whether we can fix this." Talia looked at me, eyebrows raised. I shook my head. "There is no future, Ethan. You slept with your best friend's wife in our bed for months while lying to my face. People make mistakes. Not like this." His eyes filled. "I love you. You loved the life I gave you. There's a difference." That sentence hurt him. I could see it. And maybe months ago, I would have softened because hurting him felt like failing at love. But standing there with my suitcase open, my sister beside me, and Rocket pressed against my leg, I understood something clearly. His pain was not my emergency anymore. "You'll hear from my lawyer about the lease," I said. As we loaded the car, Talia finally spoke. "I'm proud of you. I don't feel strong." "You don't have to feel strong to leave. You just have to leave." 6 weeks later, the fallout was everywhere. Maya and Brandon's marriage was over. Their mutual friends mostly sided with Brandon, because apparently people do not love it when you sleep with your best friend's husband and call it confusion. Ethan posted vague stories about forgiveness, growth, and everyone making mistakes, which would have been funnier if it had not been so predictable. Maya disappeared from social media for a while, then returned with quotes about choosing herself. Brandon sent me one screenshot and wrote, "I guess accountability didn't fit the aesthetic. I moved into a one-bedroom apartment closer to work. I got Rocket in the breakup." Ethan did not even fight for him, which told me more than I wanted to know. The first night in the new place, Rocket slept by the door like he was guarding us from the past. I sat on the floor surrounded by boxes and cried into his fur until he licked my chin. I started therapy. I went to the gym. I bought curtains I liked without asking anyone if they were too much. I learned the quiet of living alone was not emptiness. It was space. Brandon and I got coffee once. Not a date. Just two people who survived the same shipwreck. We talked for 3 hours about the weird humiliation of trusting people who had been rehearsing betrayal in plain sight. "At least you didn't cover for them," he said. "Why would I?" "Because people do," he said. "They protect the wrong people." He was right. 4 months have passed now. Ethan reached out once around the holidays asking if we could meet. I did not respond. Talia heard through someone that he was already seeing someone new. Maya moved in with her cousin after the divorce filings got ugly. Brandon sold the house and took a trip to Portugal he had always talked about but never taken. We still text sometimes. Nothing romantic. Maybe someday. Maybe never. I am not rushing to turn shared trauma into a love story just because pain likes company. As for me, I am good. Better than good, actually. My apartment is mine. Rocket is happier. I have been dating a little, nothing serious. I go to bed without wondering who is lying beside me. I wake up without checking someone else's mood before I decide what kind of day I am allowed to have. I learned something through all of this. Betrayal does not always arrive wearing lipstick on a collar or smelling like perfume that is not yours. Sometimes it sits across from you at game night. Sometimes it laughs in your kitchen. Sometimes it wears your boyfriend's shirt in your bed and looks shocked only because you came home early. I do not hate Ethan anymore. I just nothing him. He is a stranger who once knew where I kept the coffee filters. A man who used to sleep beside me. A chapter I survived. And honestly, that is the cleanest closure I could ask for.